was minding my own business in Marshall, Texas. I was senior pastor of First United Methodist Church in Marshall, Texas. We had just completed a major building campaign, about to get a new building underway, when one night I was minding my own business and the phone rang, and it was a bishop from Louisiana asking to speak to me. For several years I'd kind of watched on television some of the problems that First Methodist Church Shreveport was going through at that particular time. And I said to my wife one night after one of the news, I said, whoever went to that church would have to be a complete idiot. Well, it wasn't long before I was the complete idiot that was being called to First Methodist Church Shreveport. And it was the best decision I've ever made in my life. God has done amazing things over the last 27 years in my life personally, and through the great people here at First Methodist.
Pat leads First United Methodist Church, which is one of the largest churches in Louisiana. He's a real caring person and has a real vision for helping other people.
Pat is an extraordinary leader, and I think very first and foremost, he's a man of God. And that's what you look for in your senior pastor. You want them to be a man of God, and he is a man of God and a man of integrity, true to his word.
Your integrity means everything. Your word's your bond. And I know it's a kind of a corny phrase, but the fact of the matter is, if your integrity's no good, you can literally throw away your whole life. And Pat's integrity has always been top-notch. When he was in college during the summers, he would go to different churches and speak. Happened to come to the church I attended in Longview, Texas, and I got to know him there. He was someone that I could relate to. He was a football player. I was a football player. He's always been a person of integrity, and I really was attracted to that.
He's sincere in wanting to help other people, and he's always anxious to help people and to be a friend. He's just a great person to have as a friend.
Those early years were tough, and I mean really, really tough. There were all kinds of challenges there. We were in financial difficulty. The church was run down physically, and it was just really a tough situation. And when I was brought in, I came with a different theological slant than previous pastors had had, so there were already some challenges in place. Little did I know that there would be huge challenges over the next 3 to 4 years.
Shreveport was just coming out of a terrible time, a really down cycle in our economy. And Shreveport was, and I think churches or any organizations were feeling the effect of that. So we're coming out of a really tough economic cycle. And so a leader like Dr. Day, with his energy, with his leadership, we've seen the church quadruple its budget. We've seen 2 extensive building campaigns. We've seen a mission element of our church grow to, I think it's almost $1 million a year budget that just focuses on international missions.
Our church that has no debt. When Pat came, we were a normal church with a normal amount of debt. And since Pat's been here, he's raised $20 million in capital improvements to help our community. This Emmett Hook Performing Arts Center. There's this Education Administration Building, the Children's Ministry Center.
I will never forget a sermon that I preached one Sunday morning. It was the $900 sermon. I started out, it was in our stewardship campaign. We were in deep financial problems at that time. And I said, we have a history of being a rich church. I said, yes, we've got some rich people that come to our church, but we've got people from the street, we've got all socioeconomic groups. But would you say First Methodist was a rich church if you knew we only had $900 in our checking account this morning? You could have heard a pin drop. And from that moment on, things began to change and things began to turn around because people saw the need.
You see the optimism of Pat and his messages and who he is as a person. And you kind of wonder, is that real? Well, 25 years later, I will tell you emphatically, it is real.
He's a great preacher. He's a great pastor if you're ill or have problems, and he's a great business person. He
loves people, and he invests deeply in relationships across the community.
Pat is a very fun-loving guy. I know when he's in the pulpit, he's all business and the like, but he is one of those people who really is down to earth, very normal person. He grew up in a very traditional way. He happens to be a pastor of a church, but he could have been a great lawyer, could have been a great businessman.
And I want to tell you something. We're doing a terrible disservice to a lot of people because college is not the only way to become successful. In fact, a large number of millionaires in our country never set foot in a college class. They learned on the job. They were mentored by someone smarter than them. They took a trade and they did something with it. And one of the biggest myths in the world is you've got to have a prestigious degree from an outstanding college in order to be a success. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Ask Bill Gates, for instance. In our society, unfortunately, a brain surgeon may be more highly esteemed by a lot of people, whereas a plumber, on the other hand, may not be quite as esteemed, and some people may even look down. But I can tell you what, on Sunday morning, when your sink and your plumbing system goes out of whack, the most important person on Sunday morning at a minister's house is the plumber. I'm here to tell you that every person is important, and don't let anybody ever belittle you or put you down because you do not have a degree in this or a degree in that. Just be the best you can be and learn every day. I think you have a great opportunity if you're a young person, especially in our community with something like junior achievement. You can learn so many life's lessons that will put you farther down the road than you can possibly begin to imagine. You have great opportunities in front of you. And you can continue to make excuses for not being the success that God has called you to be or achieving the things that He wants you to achieve. Or you can get busy working and learning from a great organization like Junior Achievement. The principles that you will learn through your involvement there will be life-changing principles. And one of the things I also want to say to you, if you're a young person listening to this, maybe you've come from a home that is a very difficult home, and maybe poverty has been something you've had to battle. You can break that cycle. You can say to yourself, I'm going to be different, and I'm going to break the cycle of poverty by getting myself a good job, getting a good education, whether it's on the job or whether it's through trainings, through a training school or through a college. But I'm going to make something myself, and I'm not going to let anybody, I repeat, anybody, stand in the way of the success that God wants me to be.